So in this video we're going to learn how to make this beautiful Christian Dior dress, and I would like to start by creating the cage following this good video from Mike Makes Digital, create the crinoline petticoat in Clo3D. So following this tutorial, obviously making it with different measurements that you have to assess by going by your eye and your experience and creating this to this correct proportions, let's say. And just for the dress, we can obviously see it on the runway show. I haven't been able to capture too many good pictures, but when you have a look, because it goes so quick on the video, but you can see here on the side, she's got her hands in. We do not see too many seams here in the front. However, we can see obviously the petticoat here. There could be seams. There probably should be some kind of seams because it does not look there's any gathers at the hem. So it's smaller here, bigger there, unless it's complete stretch fabric, which has then been hand embroidered, which could of course be, but if it's not stretchy, then it should be smaller here and bigger there. That means we need some kind of seams. Definitely have a side seam, and here also in the front probably we don't have a seam, because then also this excess that would be in here gets folded over to the side. And we can also see in the back it's a little bit more relaxed, so it looks like there's a little bit of extra fabric, even though here it looks pretty fitted again, so not as if there's a lot of extra there. But yeah, let's start with the petticoat following this video, and then we can get onto the fabric and the pattern of the dress. First we are going to use the 3D avatar pen to draw on the top edge of the dress. Using the flattening tool, we'll then trace off the pattern pieces. They will appear in 2D, and then we can get them onto the avatar so that the petticoat dress has a place to sit on. So using the basic tape measure tool, we're going to draw on the line in the exact same position where we had the first line, so that we can attach this band to the avatar. Holding command will give you curve points as always, and then when you get to the end, you double click to finish the line. And then when you go into edit measure and right click, you have the option of duplicating it to the other side. And once you have those both things done, you can attach to avatar. So you select first the edge of the piece, the pattern piece, the garment, and then the line on the avatar. You do that all the way around. You don't have to specify exactly which part, and it will just kind of stick to the avatar. If it didn't work in some areas, just redo those steps, and then you can check the fit of it. So given that this is not really the way how you would proper pattern making will happen, you can see that there's a gap here. I don't like that, so I will fix this by taking out a little bit from the pattern to get a better fit. So now that the band is done, we can create the vertical boning pieces, let's say. You can use the gray avatar in the 2D as a guide to see the length you want, and you can also further adjust it afterwards, of course. When you see it in a 3D, it might be a little more obvious. We want to kind of go just be around the knee length, and then you can adjust it to the correct length. And we're going to create multiple lines, like offset as internal line, to be able to stitch the horizontal boning pieces to it. So you can go with the measurement that feels right to you. I'm going to do 9 divisions, and then I'm going to make the boning width of this petticoat pieces 2.5 centimeters each. So you have there the numbers 1, 2, 3, and so forth. You have the little scroll on the right hand side, so you can set all of that up. You can obviously calculate to make sure it's all completely even, but I just guess it because afterwards I will be adjusting it anyway, depending on how it sits, to be able to get the correct proportions. So once you have your first vertical boning ready with all the stitching lines and have adjusted the lines so they're all split up at every intersection, you're ready to create multiple pieces of this and stitch them evenly onto the band that we have on the top edge of our corset. And from there you can freeze them into place once they're on the body and start with the horizontal pieces. So next we're gonna create some ellipses. So some circles, they're literally only there for us to estimate the measurements, because it is a bit hard to know what exactly the circumferences are in the different places on this dress. So what I am suggesting to do is to create circles, then offsetting as internal line and just maybe 5 millimeters or something, and cutting that line and then placing it over the avatar in the correct position and adjusting it to the correct size. So I would actually do that for all the different circles that we need, and then I can measure those circles because that's what I have estimated them to be in size, and it will be a lot easier. So again, use your numbers to get in the correct location, and then once you place the hoop around her, you can start by adjusting it, by dragging it in a 2D window, and yeah, make sure you get the proportions that you see are correct for this dress. So basically here I would measure the circle, which is the last one for the hem, and take that measurement, divide it by 8, because we're going to create now a rectangle with the measurement divided by 8, because we have got 8 pieces where we have to stitch it on, so we'll have 8 pieces of this measurement, and the height should be 2.5 centimeters if that is what you've used before, like me. And so once you have that, you can maybe place your vertical pieces in a way that you know where to stitch your horizontal pieces to. Maybe it just helps having a little bit more space in between, and then placing the 8 horizontal pieces in a way that you know exactly where they're going to be stitched to. So once you're done with the first row, you copy and paste the same pieces for all the other rows. You will obviously then adjust them in size as well. but from here on it should be a little bit easier. You still need to do the sewing for each row, and then the adjustment to the correct size as well. So just go ahead and following the other instructions and this video along, you should be able to create all the hoops for this dress. Next, it's time to adjust the length and the width of it to make sure the proportions are correct. So always using the visual, the images as a guide, and I'm going to lengthen my back vertical panels because the gap between the front and the back is not big enough. So you can be shortening the front, lengthening the back, obviously not just the center back, also the side backs and the sides, and same for the front and the side front. So just make sure you adjust all of them in a way that proportionally you're happy and it is as per the original image. And then also just have a look at your vertical boning pieces and the rectangles, and if you want to adjust them any further you can do that as well to make sure you get the same look and proportions as we have in the original image. so to continue with our dress, I can now delete the circles, which I've created as a guide for measurements only. And we can get over to creating our pattern pieces that will be used to be sewn over the cage that we have created. So in your 3D area, we have a new function on Clo3D, which 3D pen includes. So in the past, it was always like this: when we draw on the avatar, we draw directly on the avatar. We could not go away from the body. Even if I put my cursor here, it will stick to the body. Now, as you can see here, attached to our cursor, it says points on avatar. Press P to create points in space. So now if I press P, I can actually go here, which was before impossible. And now if I press P again, I'm back on the avatar. Okay, so this is quite an exciting new function, and we're going to try to use it for our dress. The only thing, it is quite difficult to move around in space, so you need to get used to it. Remember that you cannot draw towards you. If you want to draw towards you, you need to look at it at the side and then draw this way. Yeah, so you need to use the numbers a lot: 8 back, 2 front, 4 and 6 other sides, and even sometimes 5 if you wanted to draw something correctly here. But if you're drawing here, let's say I want to draw the circle, it is really difficult because you don't know where you are in height. Yeah, so that's a bit of a tricky one and takes a little bit of getting used to and moving the points around afterwards. So let's get started. Starting here, the center front, then I'm going to go to the side view and I'm going to press P to get into space. And you can also see these numbers. So they're the X and Y, sorry, the X and Z. So showing me that to the center it's 42 and to the floor it's 134.8. Yeah, so there are these numbers. Command, like always, gives you smooth points. I'm going to hold Command here. I'm not going to move the avatar in between because I found it is easier if I don't move in between. Otherwise, I kind of lose the direction as in where I'm going. I'm going to go here and double click. I'm going to turn to the front and have a look at this line. So if I go into Edit Pen, go and click on it, and I will see my line here. And I'm actually pretty happy with this. So now I'm going to try to do the next one, which I'm going to place over the second line here. So back into 3D pen, starting on the avatar. It always starts automatically in the avatar. Pressing P to get into space. I'm going to follow this line here, at least trying to. Let's see what it does. If you didn't press Command to get smooth pen, it's fine. It's something easy we can change later on the pattern. I am a bit lost now. I don't think I'm in the right place. Let's see. Double click to finish, and then I'm going to this is what I meant. It is a bit tricky because sometimes you feel like you're going down, but you're going in a completely different direction. So, because it does also kind of click 2 points. No, I've got these two to connect it. No, I'm just gonna undo and I'm gonna delete this part of my line and try that again. So it is quite tricky because, as I said, it likes to snap to things. So from here, I went here, but actually I went onto this line there. So it is a little bit tricky. I will try a different angle. And then this last little bit here, I also delete first and do that again. So see if I can start from here. 3D pen, where's our last point? Up here. okay, maybe a little bit further out than I wanted to, so you can use your edit pen tool to move the points, but when you move them, sometimes you also move them again in another direction, but this looks good. So now back to the 3D pen, and I'm going to draw this line and also this line here, so connecting the pieces. And then once it's connected, because you need to always have a complete and closed circle or any shape that needs to be closed in order to create the pattern pieces. So remember, then you have in here under the 3D pen, when you click and hold, this little triangle here indicates there's something else behind. We have the flatten tool. So the flatten tool will not work anywhere else, because nowhere else we have drawn a complete circle or pattern piece. You can select it and press enter. And there we go, it's our first pattern piece. I would like for my center front here to have a slight curve, and the hem probably also, but I will do that later at the end. And so for now, I would just continue with the tracing of these pattern pieces, and then later create duplicate pieces, stitch them all on, and then I will perfect the shape of this.